Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. My guest today, Christopher Crecelius, founder and CEO of AxonDAO. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Coolest surname ever. Let's just get that on record. How did you come up with the idea of AxonDAO? I think before we get to that, what the hell is it?
Well, Axon is a decentralized DAO that funds science in decentralized manner. We are using all the different means of the new technologies that are crossing paths, like blockchain, AI, and all these things, considering encryptions and things. But now there's so many more opportunities, giving the sensors, the data, everything we're putting out there has value to you and me and us and science. And so we should share this and get something for that. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. And started a while ago.
I've never heard of decentralized science, right? I've heard of decentralized finance. What exactly does decentralized science mean? What does it mean to decentralized science?
The idea isn't a new concept.
Okay.
It's how that technology is here to ensure the decentralized mechanisms are practical and don't sway from, because it tends to become hierarchical, over time.
Yes.
The idea of a university used to be for the public to own the data that we all kind of put together, but that got away from the inherent idea. This is just kind of like it's funny because a lot of the scientists from the past all kind of did this, and we're just able to do it with the right tools so that we can inspire scientists who have good ideas, at the same time give people something for their information. So we're able, because of the mechanisms, we can fund science, give people who wouldn't get a voice some funding to do the thing, and either proof positive, proof negative, you're getting something out of it.
Okay, I'm with you, because so you're working with universities primarily.
Well, we kind of started down that path, but we understand they are faced with the same bureaucracy. We submitted
absolutely. It's this whole, sorry my French, but this whole bullshit system of ass kissing and who gets money and who doesn't. And at the end of the day, it's not science anymore. It's just this game that people are playing, and I feel like we're not getting to the point where we need to be getting.
It's funny because, you're training young minds in college to solve problems, practical problems, and then all of a sudden they're like, you need to get funding. They're like, well, that just doesn't work. So you have people who are trained to solve problems, and then they see something that's just so mind-numbingly just not working. So that's kind of the problem. One of our folks we've been working with, DeSci, they're PhD students. They went kind of rogue against this system in a way too. It's just like inherent problems. We're solving crazy things, but we can't even get like some money to see if our idea works. And if it does, it comes with all these strings attached. So we just keep finding more and more as we pull layers back that decentralized science is a powerful thing, especially now that we have the tools.
All right. So one of those tools being obviously the Arbitrum blockchain. Why did you choose Arbitrum and not?
Well, that's one. We started. ETH is our main layer one.
Okay.
Was suggested by and voted on by our DAO first protocol actually. It's kind of before Base was becoming a thing. Arbitrum had a lot of use case, a lot of things. It was cheap transactions, quick transactions. It seemed to work. That was that. But now that we've also done Base bridge. For the same thing. So we're on Ethereum. We're on Arbitrum as an L2 and Base, but Base is doing well. Arbitrum is great too. I think they're a bigger monstrosity, and I think that Base is understanding more things too. So I think they're working hand in hand. Doesn't mean we won't we need to consider everything moving forward. But yeah, we're trying to make it accessible.
So talk about accessible. Do you sort of reach out to people, or do people reach out to you? How does it work?
In terms of the projects,
Yes, yes. In terms of the projects and funding.
well, right now we're in the middle of we're actually finalizing the Cayman nonprofit, which will, be operated completely independent as we've always wanted, but even in a further manner, so that those people can submit. And you go to AxonDAO.io and you can check out everything from our governance page, portals, announcements all on X and everything. But really, in the next few weeks, we're going to be submitting out or rotating out our granting sign up sheet so that you could submit your project. Also, what we really want to do in this first protocol measure that we're going to deploy is for people to put their ideas that they want to see on, like, oh, is that paper receipt toxic? I don't know. Let's just do an analysis of the top whatever places that do, so we want to really check out all these things that we see that, hey, this might be bad for you, but it's in circulation and we're all ingesting, taking.
Is it bad for you? Because I saw just online articles and something about you shouldn't touch it or something like that. Is it bad for you?
I think there's a lot of studies that shows, like, most of the how that paper works. I guess I'm not a scientist, but you just kind of like cross-examine 100 things and you can get a pretty good note. But those things by their nature are like coated with all this stuff that's just it absorbs and goes through your membranes. Like, it is not good. And so, like, that's just like one tiny example. And as a parent, I would want to see so many products being tested by independent people, but then actually you're getting scientists a job or a role. And so now when, like I was talking about Poseidon and other people, when you're in the scientist industry or scientists trying to be young scientists, and if you go against the grain too much, it's not good. So they're taking a risk. But if we can kind of show, like, hey, this is something for you, then we're going to start seeing masses of people, I feel like, in the scientist community coming over to investigate as an option.
Absolutely, because I've felt for years that big science was bought and paid for, and we're not seeing the sort of stuff that we should. What type of funding are we talking about? Is it can you are you at liberty to throw some figures around?
Well, we had all these grand ideas in the beginning and
yeah, sure,
all these grand plans for the future, but right now our goal is to deploy the capital we get from our fee, that the trading fee. There's 1%. A third of that goes to the DeSci fund. All the burns, everything, all the ETH, that goes to the DeSci fund, and that is an ETH. So as people apply for these projects, we're going to be deploying some funds in ETH or USD, however we want to do. We're not trying to do any sort of like pull on the AXGT token for funding the science. We always want to keep these things in mind, but we're going to deploy about 25,000, I think, chunks right now to get like maybe 4 or 5 projects going. We might split that into 3. It just depends on the project. We have a couple of really good ones that we're really excited about. And there's some that are actually part of governmental agencies that, if we can get them some funding and show like the decentralized mechanism works in any sort of practical manner, you're going to get people to start saying, wow, because we're getting use case. And we've always had to battle. That's a quasi, we don't know, it's blockchain, who knows? But when we can start getting the use cases, and another thing to make a point about the use case, our Silosis project that we originally had submitted to the University of Texas at Austin. They're one of the leaders in psychedelic studies. They couldn't do the analysis because of the technology and the bureaucracy, but we are now almost finished with the protocol with IRB Ethics Board, which is the US and for the world, they're the board who gives you the ethics approval or not on your protocol. So on our Silosis study for microdosing, which is the first of its kind, will be ethics approved by IRB. So that now all of a sudden DeSci is getting its little shining light that it does have a use case. It can do good things. So as we start to do these little, hitting the rock harder, and all of a sudden it breaks. And that's what I feel like we're doing. But just got to swing the sledgehammer pretty hard.
Yeah, because that studies that sort of it's got really big benefits for people struggling with mental health, army vets, and it's awesome to hear more money pumped into that direction. I think that's very cool. What are you said there's some projects in the pipeline? Can you talk about them?
Well, we already have A Plus Voice, which
Okay.
is
What is that?
out there. So A Plus Voice is our really flagship. It's a way for people to input their voice. It's kind of what Silosis is built on.
Okay.
You put your voice into our CureOS system, our system that onboards your voice, and that you do tasks. And as your voice goes into the system, it's read or will be read by AI and comparing and analyzing 20 of like the 36 possible data points that you could possibly make that could be analyzed.
Okay.
We analyze 20 of those and you compare them over time. So when you do that in comparison to adding it into our Cure ring, which is our ring that will be adding your bio data, you get a lot, and your voice tells a lot about you, especially over time in comparison to other analytics. But just to make a point, A Plus Voice is how NVIDIA accepted our application to their Inception program. So we are invited.
Congratulations, man.
That brought a tear to my eye. It was
the fucking rock star. Jensen's a rock star, man. He was like, that's like jamming with the Beatles now.
It worked because Tharusha, who's this, she's a professional scientist at University of Sydney, Australia. Yeah. Max, a physicist with all his background in medical devices, and then our background was doing what we've been doing for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
So we got it, and it was really great. And so we've been to 2 NVIDIA events. We're heading to the third, actually our second GTC in the spring.
Yeah.
So awesome. We're excited. Yeah, it's really cool.
Talk to me more about this voice thing, because I've never even heard of it. I've never thought of my voice. Obviously, sometimes when you speak softly or hard, or your tonality changes, you're angry, sad, whatever. But I'm guessing there's more of a health thing here.
Well, think about this: like you're stressed or under a tense feeling. Generally, not all the time, your diaphragm will be like higher up, so your pitch will have show that it's up more, and so certain points of your pitch, tone, all those things, timbre, all these things will be coming into analysis. But it's even if you just think of that one thing, like your stress, like your diaphragm, so like everything will change, but you have to have a baseline. And so we try to establish the baselines, and then do the voice analysis. But we can do so much with that. And trying to make another point, other projects have to do with music.
Okay.
Another one has to do with cannabis, ultrasound treatments and therapies. And
stop at the ultrasound, because my mother-in-law is actually a very good sonographer, one of the best in our country. What you doing with ultrasound? I think she'd be very interested in that.
I would like to have. I wish Mac was on this, because he was on it. But that was kind of his baby. Okay. We work with some folks who do some really awesome research in this field. Personally, I've seen the benefits.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
People have no idea how cool ultrasound is. These people are rock stars that can like detect blocked veins in your heart or in your liver, and they like basically have a superpower to look. Like when I look at the screen when she does this sonograph on me, or ultrasound, I look at the screen, I can't figure out shit. It's just like black and white, and she's like there. And she's actually told me that they are starting to use AI now into the machinery to detect early stage cancer, what it looks like, because she's like been in the I don't know, like 40 years, 45 years. So her eye and her knowledge is super good. But like the new doctors coming in, they don't have that knowledge. So AI is basically helping them to detect cancer early and stuff. So that's why I'm saying ultrasound, man, that's early stage detection is better. Prevention is better than cure. So I'm super pumped about that. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, like after I went to college, got business degrees, art, all this stuff. I went to engineering school. I have an audio engineering degree.
Yeah.
And I always been a musician or some manner and played in lots of bands. And I love music, and I always understand that there's always something there. And especially having been trained on with some of the top things like possible, like there's so much about sound that even having a degree and understanding this, there's so much we don't know, and this is what we get to discover now because we have the GPUs and NVIDIA chips that can do 5 bazillion teraflops every 2 seconds.
Yeah, because your heart goes, and she said, "Oh no, cool. Your arteries are nice and open, blood pumping, whatever." And that sound, dude, that sound. That's awesome. Like it's frequencies. That's mind blowing.
It's just so much that I think we don't know yet, but
yeah,
it's about the vibe. And one of the other things like microtubules and all these things has to do with the ultra V being affected by all these emissions that we're putting into our heads all day. So just to make sense of this stuff, we're so at the beginning of all this, but glad that we can start making practical applications of this idea of DeSci. We've been doing telehealth stuff since 2013, and I was in doing apps and stuff before that. Understood data privacy. I understood that. Worked with Duke on a MBA class to understand the applications risks, but people didn't seem to care about privacy, and they just like clicked the button. But now it's become such a rampant problem. Us always trying to understand how technology can solve healthcare. But now that the public and the private things are really crossing paths, it's back to you need to protect your privacy. And even though your voice, on your phone, you do your voice to any app, they're not calling that clinical data. But we are going to be calling this clinical data when it's done in a certain manner. So that's how close all these things are, like lying right next to each other. So we're trying to help this take it to the next step.
To bridge it. Dude, thank you so much for joining me today. If the listeners want to go and connect with you guys and find out more about what you do, maybe apply for a grant or I don't know, join your team or whatever, where can they do that?
Well, definitely hit us up on X or if you want to message our Telegram, also Discord. You could even feel free to create a ticket. We have a great new ambassador program that just rolled out. And check out our website. There's all the links to everything there. And feel free to email Chris at AxonDAO.io, and happy to talk to anybody who's a scientist in any manner of DeSci, just interested. Would love to hear your input about anything.
And we'll put all the links in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. And to all listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
Systems broke, people choke, living check to check. World's a mess, more stress, what did you expect? Top dogs feast while the streets can't catch a break. Time to wake up, see the game for what's at stake. Stand up, rise up, no time for tears. Real talk, straight walk through these twisted years. One hand washes the other, that's how it goes. You reap what you sow, that's how it flows. Politicians talking, but their words are cheap, while folks out here grinding, barely getting sleep. Bank accounts empty, landlord at the door. Time to flip the script, change the rules of war. The system ain't broken, it's running just fine. For those who designed it, drawing every line. But we see the truth now behind the facade. Time to rewrite rules that they thought was law. Look left, look right, same struggle, different face. Race to the bottom's got us stuck in this place. With strength in numbers, that's the ancient code. Share the load or watch the whole thing explode. They say pull yourself up, but they cut all the ropes. Keep us fighting each other while they count their notes. Education's priced out, healthcare's for the rich. Time to break it down and build a system that fits. Stand up, rise up, no time for tears. Real talk, straight walk through these twisted years. One hand pushes the other, that's how it goes. You reap what you sow, that's how it flows. Cold world out there, but we ain't done yet. Building bridges while they build their fences. Time to make moves, no more pretenses. Power to the people, break down defenses. Tear down the old way, build something new. System change coming long overdue.